All right, welcome to our fourth video in our series of Steps of the Scientific Method. We left off with our Step 5, collect and analyze your results. We talked about how we're going to confirm those results by retesting, doing it again if we, at least 2 more times. So we have a total of 3 tests to get some good results and get some to back up our findings. Well, Step 6 talks about the conclusion. And in this conclusion, we need to include a statement that accepts or rejects the hypothesis. Now think back to your hypothesis. That was your educated guess. That was what you thought was going to happen based on your background knowledge and your research. So we're going to come up with a conclusion, and I've given you and then you're also going to make recommendations for further study and possible improvements to the procedure. Now, when you write your conclusion, you're going to write it as if you've either rejected or accepted your hypothesis. Now, if you reject your hypothesis, you also will need to make sure that you let us know which would be the best thing. My hypothesis was rejected. Kind of what we say wrong. I wasn't right, my guess wasn't right, but that's okay. You can be wrong in science. And you're going to tell us which would be the correct answer. So that's if it's rejected. If it's accepted, you just say, my hypothesis is accepted and it is correct. And you restate what your hypothesis kind of was and let us know that that was the correct one. So your conclusion is pretty simple. 1, maybe 2 sentences would all it would be on your display board. So let's move on to Step 7. That's kind of a quick Step 6. So Step 7 then is to communicate the results. Now, communicate the results, that's going to be our science fair. You're going to bring your board in, you're going to bring your information in, you're going to bring in the materials that you used, your procedure list. You're going to bring all that stuff here to school, and you're going to communicate your results to other students, other staff, judges, principal, superintendent, whoever decides to come to your science fair. So the communicate results is you need to be prepared to present the project to an audience. And I gave you an example of what your audience could be. Parents as well could be the audience. We do invite those to our science fair. And then expect questions from them. So when they asking you questions, you're going to need to know the answers to those. Sometimes the questions maybe you don't know the answers to, and that's okay too. But you're going to be able to, especially if they ask, well, what was the procedure that you did to do your experiment? I'm hoping that you will be able to do it. Now, the reason why we make sure we stress that is because a lot of times parents like to be involved with their child's science fair project, and that is fantastic. We love getting you and your parents involved together, but we want you to be a big part of it. So you need to be with them. I understand sometimes the experiments we do need adults to help us supervise them, especially if we're going to maybe be baking something or using something around an oven or something like that. We want your parents to be there. But we do want you to be actively involved so that you know what was going on during your experiment. And that's where the questions, you'll be able to answer those questions. If I come around and ask you a question about something, how it worked, how your experiment went, I'm hoping that you can answer it. Okay, and that shows me that you did the experiment, or you were at least a good part of that experiment. So then, just to recap, I think you can name all 7 steps. So let's kind of look through them here. Step 1 again was our problem in question. Step 2 is the observation research. Step 3, formulate a hypothesis, your educated guess. Step 4, that fun thing, the experiment we're going to be doing. And Step 5, collect and analyze your results. Step 6, you're going to come up with your conclusion. What happened? Do I accept? Do I reject that hypothesis? And Step 7, I don't know, you can kind of see half of it, says communicate the results. And that's your science fair, getting your science fair boards. Now in future videos, I'm going to have a science fair board up here. I'll kind of walk through how we're going to lay it out. There's going to be a couple other things in the next few videos talking about how we can go through this procedure. We're actually going to walk through a science fair project, how one student did it in the future, in one of the future videos. So hopefully hopefully you can remember those 7 steps. There isn't really any homework for after this video, so what I want you to do is just make sure you know those 7 steps. Be constantly thinking about your experiment, how you're going to put these 7 steps into your experiment and into your science fair project. Okay, we'll see you soon.